You know, it was kind of like spring practice was. It was some good give and take. There were some good plays. I would say probably more so today, though, than the other time. I thought our quarterbacks made some bad throws, interceptions. You know, I hate to see those. And there's, you know, we've got to eliminate that from our repertoire, so to speak. But besides that, they both made some good throws, and guys made some plays, but not. You know, we got a long way to go to win a game.
How would you sum up spring ball?
I liked it. I thought that there's a lot of individual growth, and then we got a lot of our substance stuff in. You know, and I think that you know, I think we made a lot of progress, and I think that especially with the offensive line and off-season program, fall camp is going to be before we determine. We got a lot of evaluation yet to do to determine who our offensive line is going to be with the guys that are coming in, and it will be, and the guys that have been hurt and will be healthy by fall camp. That will be our biggest deal there. Then defensively, I thought the safeties grew tremendously. Murphy and Tyreek Zimmerman and Ashton, I think they can all play. You know, I think that was really a good sign. I think Rashad Reynolds has really improved dramatically from the time he first started until he's playing right now. And of course, Poyer is the other guy. We've got to find a couple more corners that we feel good about playing in the games, and I don't think I can say that right now that we're there. Linebackers, you know, I think when DJ's healthy, Michael Doctor on the outside, that's a good group. Fetiunga in the middle is a good playmaker. And then the front, I think what's happened in camp is that both Rusty Fernando and Rudy Fafita have improved a lot, and that gives us two more. And then with Devin Kell, we might have 5 ends that can play in the game. And then Monatui Vaialala, who you saw make plays today, he has stepped up on the interior. So if we get Castro back, Andrew Samalo is maybe our best player up front right now. And then you keep developing that other depth inside there. You know, we're going to have some depth there, and so defensively, I think we got to find some corners and just keep growing. Kicking game, I kind of like the punting again today. We wanted to see them when there was a little bit of a crowd and how they responded. I thought it was good. Both of those kids are talented. They've been very consistent this spring. And did Johnny Hecker get drafted? Anybody here?
No.
Haven't seen. Dang it. I thought he would. How about James?
Yeah.
No?
No. They were through 6 the last time I looked.
Through 6, okay. And then offensive, the tight ends, you know, Colby is solid, knows what he's doing. The other guys are young, and they're 50-50. You know, they get beat or they'll make a play, and it's about 50-50, and they've got to improve that part to be a factor for us positively in the fall. The running backs, you guys saw it. You know, I think there's good talent running the ball. Those guys are football players. They will be on our team. They'll be on special teams. Who is going to be the starting running back, I don't know, but guys like Storm Woods definitely made a move. I mean, he's in that picture now for sure, and then we'll decide in fall camp really what we're going to do. But you saw Jenkins, he's a good football player. Malcolm Agnew, Teron Ward, they all had runs too. So we're fortunate to have those guys, and we're fortunate they all play all over special teams. So they're, you know, they play a great number of roles for our entire football team, and that's good. And then quarterbacking, you know, I thought Cody Vaz really stepped up and had a great spring, and I think Sean, you know, probably had some of the best learning moments of his life this spring, because he's got some knowledge about the season and took a lot of confidence into this spring, and I think that was really good for him.
What do you mean in particular by learning moments for Sean?
Well, I think, you know, all the coverages that we presented him was by the end of today quite a variety. So he got to see a lot more and then match up our patterns against that, you know, pretty well. And you know, I think quarterbacking is a step forward and hopefully not step back, but it sometimes happens. I thought the interception early was a step back, you know, and you know, that's the part that picture's cloudy, and you throw the ball into that cloudiness, bad things happen, and that's what happens.
What does he need to work on? What does he need to work on the most this summer?
Oh, I think that guys continually have to work on especially tall, big guy, always feel he's got to quicken his feet. You know, the more he can enhance his quickness, the better life is for quarterbacks. You know, because it's simply a fact of you can get away from the bad guys more quickly, and that's a very simple way to put it. So you can always do that, and I think that also quarterbacks can always work on quickening their release. You know, getting the ball from right here out is, it sounds like a little thing, but it's a major, major thing in quarterbacking. Might be one of the top 2 attributes that quarterbacks have, is being able to get the ball out quickly. And that is, if you really watch Tom Brady a lot, that is just phenomenal how he can get the ball out of his hand, how fast he does that. So, you know, so those kinds of things. You know, there's no ceiling to those things for any position, but particularly quarterbacking and learning. And Sean will probably spend half his summer in the film room, which he did last year. And so will Cody. I tell you what, Cody Vaz, you know, I feel like we have 2 starters right now. I really do, and that's a good thing.
Boom seemed to be your guys' favorite target of the day.
You know what? Boom has maybe the favorite target through spring practice because he played 2 positions, so he was all over the place. But I'm real excited with our crew. You know, I don't think Marcus had a particularly good day, dropped a couple of balls, but we feel very confident in where he's going and what he will do. And then Brandon Cooks is, as you can see, is an exciting athlete. And I think the more he relaxes and plays, the more kinds of plays you'll see, like when he reversed the field 5 times and scored on the reverse. You know, that he's an exciting athlete.
We saw a lot of Cody Vaz today. You say 2 starters. Does that mean that there's some kind of competition there?
No, there's a definitive 1 and 2, but I'm just, you know, I think that, you know, you really, you know, I even hate to talk about it, but you're always 1 play away from playing when you're that 2nd string quarterback. So, you know, that's the reality of it. You need to have a lot of confidence in that guy and feel like he's capable of going in and running the team and winning games, and I think that he is.
What is it about Woods, particularly?
Oh, well, you know, I think he's extremely explosive, and he's a very good athlete. He's one of our 2 best receivers in the running back position, maybe the best route runner, and so he might be right up there in the real top of the mix as far as versatility, running, catching, running routes. And you know, where he's got to go is he's got to know who to block when it's his turn to block, and that's a factor that in order to be that all-around guy that they all want to be, that's got to be part of your repertoire. You know, the guys that we've had that are great backs here took a ton of pride in pass protection. You know, they were going to get it right. Evanson Bernard was the best, and Quiz was great, and Steven Jackson and Kenny Simonton. If they had blitz pickup, then they were picking up the right guy and doing it physically. So if you really want to be that all-around back, then that's got to be part of who you are, because, you know, it doesn't work when you have to run a guy out of the game because he can't block and you're going to throw the ball. I mean, you guys could all sit in the stands and criticize me for being predictable if we were going to do that.
Who stood out maybe as surprises to you that you maybe didn't expect them to make as big a jump as they did?
You know, that's a hard one because I've thought about that. I can't act surprised about Boomer because I really have anticipated this leap from him, just playing more and more. Nor can I be surprised by Storm Woods because I think he really had a great, productive year as a scout team player. I can't be surprised by DJ Welch because he's just talented, you know, so all he needed to do was kind of couple it with assignments, and then he was going to be all right. And then the secondary guys, you know, I really thought Murphy, Zimmerman, and Ashton were all really good prospects. And of course, Murph played quite a bit, but Tyreek and Ashton, I think, are going to be 2 physical kids that are just good athletes. You've seen them. They've got good ball skills. They've got good football sense. They're both very, very tough. I think that secondary is going to be good.
Is Tyreek out squatting the lineman yet, like you did in high school?
He might. I don't know. I hope not, for our lineman's sake, I guess. But he is a worker. I'll tell you that.
With the exception of the interceptions today, was there anything you were particularly disappointed with in spring? Was there any steps that you expected to make?
I'm not really disappointed, Lindsay. I don't have any of that. I think I have knowledge about where we need to go. I mean, you know, we've got to block better, you know, and so these guys that are playing right now, they worked hard and a lot of them made dramatic improvement. But when we get to the fall camp, it could be some of the same picture. It could be drastically different. But we've got to play better than we did during spring practice, blocking and just physically one-on-one, winning the one-on-one. It's either pass protection, run blocking, whatever it is. We just have to win more battles. So do our tight ends. I mean, we lost some battles on the edge today. Now we got good defensive ends, but so does everybody else. So we're going to have to block those guys too. And so we got to that's got to be a step up for our team.
Who's your best back at pass protection?
Who's our best back at pass protection right now is Jordan Jenkins, hands down. And then the other guys, it's a 50-50 deal. Although Tron Ward is pretty darn sharp, Malcolm's got to improve in that area. If Malcolm could do that, then, you know, if you want to be that versatile guy and play in every down, then you got to know who to block and who to, you know, and how to block him, and then you got to do it. And then, you know, there's also something too, like Evanson. Ev was a great garbage man. So, you know, his guy might not be blitzing, but he sees somebody else free and he just go pick him up. And that's what a back should do. I've told you before, because it doesn't do you any good to check out if the quarterback's on his back. You nor the other guys are going to get the ball, so you might as well go ahead and be a garbage man and pick him up. Guys have to learn to do that. That has to be part of their what they do. And Ev was the best at it. And Jordan Jenkins is excellent. Really a smart protector, a good blocker. He'll cut you once in a while. He'll stay up. And he's a good receiver too. So.
Did you talk to Brandon Harden at all yesterday or today?
No, Coach Banker did though. I'm really excited. You know, that's just kind of an indication of our year. We get a guy drafted in the 3rd round, didn't play it down for us last year.
Were you surprised that he went that high because he didn't play, or?
No, you know why? Because they draft. Once they get past that, in that stage, they draft. Brandon is a really good football player, but they draft on testable qualities. And, you know, you talk about a big guy that is strong, that's going to lift well, he's going to run fast. Those are really easy. You know, we're all testing him. He's going to test at the highest level for a defensive back. So, you know, that's how they do it. And so he's a good pick.
Chicago really seems to love your guys.
I know we got 5 drafted, I think, through the years by Chicago.
Happy about the injury situation. You mentioned that, but you kind of escaped.
Yeah, you know, we had some odds and ends, but nothing overly serious. I'm a little worried for Richie Mullaney on his, I don't know, his thumb. I think it was a ligament, and they might have to do surgery to tighten it up. And the only bad thing about that is he wouldn't be able to lift weights for 2 months. And that's where Richie needs to go, right? I mean, he's an excellent player, very, very good, but he needs to be stronger. So I'm worried about that for him, but he's a good worker, so he'll find his way back to do that. Thank you all for your spring practice attendance.
Thanks, Mike.
You guys are good to work with.